Welcome to the Grown Ass Dads Podcast. Boop boop a doopy doopy boo. Welcome to the Grown Ass Dads Podcast. I'm Adam Bundren.
I'm Jay Hilsing. I'm here to fuck with Jason.
I don't even know why I come anymore. I'm getting too frustrated with these guys. I'm Jason Byrne. Happy to be here. Let's get this show on the road.
Basil Hayden again tonight.
I love it.
Delicious.
I love it. 2 in a row for Basil Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Feel free to add your suggestions. We love bourbon. We like to try new stuff. So throw in your options.
That could get dangerous.
Let's go.
I'm down with that.
All right.
Okay, so this is a Jay Hilsing special.
I'm so excited.
I know you are.
I'm so excited.
So the topic for tonight is, should dads have a social life? Do dads have a social life? Is it okay for dads to have a social life, or just social life and being a dad in general? Fair?
Let's go.
Okay. So
Look at him. He's like smiling like a little schoolgirl.
I know.
He's so excited.
He was bopping in here, pretty wound up. So we started talking a little bit before the show started, and I was like, "Stop! We're gonna get rid of all the ammo. Let's wait till we get on camera." So let's just. I'm gonna start with the easiest question: should dads have a social life?
Absolutely 100%. And if they don't have a social life, it is purely on them.
I mean, is that a stupid question?
It's not a stupid question, because I would venture to guess that 90% of the dads that I know don't have a social life.
Don't have a social life, or fight against having a social life, or both.
Don't have a social life because it's easier to be complacent, and it's easier to just go, I just don't have time. I got these kids, and my wife will be mad at me if I go out and she doesn't get to go out. And, what if I miss something with the kids? And dad guilt and apathy are the main contributors to why my friends, whom I love and want to see more, I don't see ever.
Got it. Jay, what do you say?
Well, I kind of want to get a little bit more definition around exactly what are we defining as a social life?
Oh, that's
Okay.
that's fair. Because mine's probably different than yours.
Sure. So for me, a social life is different than, we talked on an episode about personal time. That was
Trust
very,
me, I'm well aware we talked about personal time. I can't stop hearing about it now.
and so that personal time is more of your we'll call it quiet time, or your time just you, that is decompression, or is whatever you're going to call it, in watch a show, sit in the dark,
Long poops.
whatever.
For me, it's long poops.
A social
long
life
poop, yeah.
for me is actually going out and doing something with other adults that you enjoy spending time with in some way, shape, or fashion. And so that is different for everybody. There, and examples of that, my social life would be going out and playing a round of golf with 3 other friends of mine, going to a bar to watch a game on a Thursday night, going to a golf trip for the weekend, potentially going to a concert or going to a game at a stadium, anything in that variety where you're going to go out without your significant other, without your kids, and you are going to plan something that you're going to go out and have fun doing with other people that you enjoy having fun with, is what I would consider to be a social life. That is separate from your social life that you have with your significant other. So I believe that everyone has some semblance of a social life within their marriage, with their partner, going on dates, going on double dates, going out to friends' houses, whatever that ends up being. So this is more specific to a social life that your significant other is not in attendance and your children are not in attendance. Does that help?
See, that's very important distinction.
Okay.
I think for the conversation in general, because I was not looking at it that way. I was just looking at it as getting out of the house. Period.
Yeah,
Could have been with spouse. Could have been with whole family. But you're referring more to social life by yourself, doing what you want. Not by yourself, but from a family perspective, it's you out with your circle and not necessarily including other members of your household.
Correct. So you are case in point. We've been friends for our whole life, and if you and your wife and your kids go to an event with another family and have a social experience, at no point do I believe that you question it or feel guilty, or you personally might go, I'd rather be at home. But you ultimately,
It's fair.
you ultimately don't. There's no stress or anxiety around that at all.
What would be the source of stress?
Okay, so
But you're talking about a scenario where I'm out with my family.
you're out with your family.
Okay.
You're out with your wife, and you are just having a good time, and that is a social life that you have in conjunction with your family.
Fair.
As a dad, in having your own individual social life, and we're not talking about going on dates or cheating or doing anything nefarious, but the ability to go out by yourself, and no, I cannot spell that
I was
word.
going to say,
I wasn't
get
going
the
there.
whiteboard.
I wasn't going there.
NEPA.
There's no P.
NEPA.
Brutal.
He's sweating.
But so what I will contend is that the majority of the people that say, yes, I do have a social life, and yes, I do go out without my wife or without my kids, the majority of them will say during that time out, they will have at minimum a twinge of guilt or fear that they are doing something wrong, or that they are not being a good dad because he left the people that depend on him at home for 4 hours.
Interesting.
Well, let me ask. So, if you go out on a Thursday night to watch a game, do you feel guilty?
This is a tough question for me to answer.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons. One, I don't do that. But it's not out of fear. It's not out of guilt. It's not out of...
It's because you don't want to do it.
Yeah, Jay already hit the nail on the head. I'm a home guy. I like sitting on my couch. I mean, I used to be one who would go out relatively frequently, but I've, in my old age, if you will, have established a little bit of a social anxiety that has me more interested in being at home. But I don't think... I'm trying to think back, but I don't know of a time when I was out with you at the bar and playing Golden Tee. We've done it within the last 2 years, in fact, after work. It wasn't late at night, but it was after work. We played Golden Tee, had a wing ding, and the good night, the whole 9 yards and things. I don't remember ever feeling guilty I should be at home. There's things I should be doing at the house, or I wonder what my wife is doing, or hope my kids are okay. I don't think that I have a feeling of guilt if I'm out. I don't go out all that often.
Okay.
What about you?
So, man, lot to unpack. So, I'm lucky enough to where I don't have to, feel guilty for going out. Like, I play softball on Sundays. Like, maybe one of my kids or both my kids will be there to watch, but most of the time they're not. I play golf on Mondays. I'm in a golf league on Mondays. My kids are not there. My wife's not there. And I'm there with family and buddies and all that stuff. And I don't necessarily feel guilty there. However, I've learned over the years to be a better communicator about my social life.
Planned activities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember learning how to communicate. And I think that communication is probably the gold or the guardrails to any healthy relationship. But I can remember I used to play hockey on Wednesdays, and no matter what time my game was, I would always say, hey, we're going to go upstairs after the game and have a beer. Well, she heard me say, I'm going to go upstairs after the game and have a beer. And what I meant to say was, we're going to close the bar down every week after hockey. So learning how each other communicate was important. And I had fear in saying, we're going to go upstairs and we're going to close the bar down every Wednesday or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And not because I was going to get beat when I got home or shamed when I got home. It was actually the opposite. It was like, go with your buddies, go do your thing.
Yep.
It was just communication is important. And just me being able to communicate differently took all of the sting out of it for me.
You are the anomaly. Your wife is awesome.
She's awesome.
And you guys have a really healthy, great relationship.
Yeah.
Jason's wife is awesome. They have a very healthy, great relationship. I have the feeling, I don't have the feeling, I know for certain that if Jason played hockey on Wednesday nights and that was his night out of the house and he said, hey, after the game, what we do is we go upstairs and we have a few beers and, not close the bar down and get belligerent, but, our game might be at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. The bar closes at midnight.
Yeah, the bar closes at 11. We get a pizza and 3 buckets of beer, and we sit there and bullshit and talk about, those fucking punk kids that we played against. Like,
whatever.
It's the same thing we do every single week, And it's much like softball on Sundays. Mm-hmm. If my game's at 12:30 or if my game's at 6:30, we're probably going to sit there and watch a few games and drink a couple buckets after the game.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We're part of the athletic association at our parish. She knows after the athletic association, we're going to go to the Stone and have 2 pizzas and a thing of toasted ravs and 17 buckets.
Yep.
But it's still important for me to say, meeting was good. We're going to head up to Blarney.
Yep.
Great. Have fun. Be careful. Cool.
I'm in the same exact boat. So I substitute in the exact same softball league. So occasionally doing that. We hang out after the games. Athletic association, same thing. I am communicating the whole time though. Like I'm thinking back on an athletic association meeting where I am literally meeting's almost done. Might go out afterwards. Not sure yet. Meeting's over with. Head into Blarney. Sitting at Blarney, getting ready to have another beer.
Right.
Leaving Blarney on my way home. So it's nonstop communication. Maybe it's almost overkill.
Well, maybe, but at the same time, I don't mind I'm not a pussy because I want to send a note.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly comfortable saying like, hey, this is the thing. This is what we're doing. Cool. Right on. And that gets met with great. Have fun. Be careful. I will say on the opposite side, and I don't know if this is kind of a shoehorn into the next phase, is I try to force her to go out.
Yep.
So dad's social life and mom's social life is totally different, in my opinion.
Agreed.
She won't do it.
Mom guilt.
And she won't do it because, well, like I can joke about it, but she's like, is he going to burn the house down? Are the kids going to get fed? and I say like kind of in jest, but like also there's probably some truth to that. Is like she keeps our ship afloat, and when I'm home, like I'll be like, you guys want to watch the ball game, or like they're on their devices or doing their thing. And I'm doing my thing, and it's like, shit, it's 8 o'clock. You guys, we need to eat something. Like, that's
anybody hungry?
Yeah, like it is a legit thing. I could go days and just forget to eat. And I have 2 children that can't do
probably
that.
Should eat.
Right.
Sure. The whole situation is the communication is key. Now, you guys happily married guys, me a divorced guy. In my marriage before that, and it's not the reason that we got divorced, but it was a situation where she didn't understand that scenario. Because it's very normal. I played hockey on Monday nights, and that was we have an 8 o'clock game. We get done at 9. have a pizza and some beers. We leave the rink at 11 and we go home. More often than not, it was met either when I got home or the next morning, like, hope you had fun. I was just at home with the kids, taking care of everything. And I would go, all right. Yeah. Did you take care of everything? Anybody get hurt? Anything I need to know about? No, it was fine. Okay, cool. No problem. And it was a passive-aggressive way that she was like, I don't understand. Like, Monday nights are hockey nights, and so nothing else happens on Mondays other than hockey. I said, that it's not even remotely close. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And you want to take the boys wherever they want to go, or you want to do whatever you want to do, that's fine. No problem. If you want to have a night, if Tuesday nights are, and I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but our book club or our massages and cocktails, or you want to play in a hockey league, go do it. Go have that. That could be your night of the week to go out, and I will take care of the thing. I never, ever, ever had an issue. Not one time, being married 20 years, did she say, hey, we're going to go out for a girls' night. And I went, okay, cool. Yeah, do it. Go have a blast. I got the boys. Go be out as long as you want. Call me if you need me to pick you up, whatever. It was more often than not when I would say, hey, I got hockey, or I'm going to go out and do this or whatever, that she would go, well, I guess I'm going to stay home again. Yeah, I guess you are. I'm cool with you going out, and I'll hold down the fort. But on Monday nights, I play hockey. Like, we know this. It's on the calendar. It's been going on for 10 years. I'm not sure what's surprising about it anymore.
Right.
And so now a lot of guys that are our age are not playing hockey every Monday night. They're not playing softball every Sunday night. And so they're just not doing that. And they don't have a consistent thing that they do, because those things are going on, revolving around the kids, and work is different, and everything's, and there's all these different things. So I know that I'm a bit of an anomaly, that I have 1 or 2 nights a week, every week, that I have something that is pre-planned and scheduled.
Right.
I totally get it. But in this world, and why this was so interesting to me, because this week, it just came up, I sent a text out to 12 guys that I saw on New Year's Eve. And while we're there at New Year's Eve and all the family and everybody's there, the guy's like, guys, I haven't seen you in forever. We need to get together and go out. Hillsing, plan us a night out, because you're the planner. All right, cool. What's the parameters? And they're like, well, we got all this shit going on, so need at least a month's heads up. Needs to be a Thursday or a Friday, can't be a Saturday. And we want it to be somewhere close. All right, cool, I'm in. So I put together some schedules with a couple of guys while they were sitting there and looked at some stuff. And so finally, last week, I sent out a text to those 12 guys. I said, hey, we're looking at Friday night, last week of May. We're going to do something here in the county, and here's 3 different options of things that we can do. Let me know what you think. We're going to get together at 6. Everybody can go home, get the kids situated, or get dinner ready or whatever, and then we're going to go out. Of those 12 guys, I got 5 immediate can't do it.
Yeah, out.
Okay, fine, whatever. Then I got 4 guys immediate in, can't wait. And then a couple of dudes are like, dude, I gotta see what's going on closer to. What are you talking about? Well, if something comes up with the kids or a game or any of this stuff happens, then I have to be out. But if I don't have a game, or I don't have a practice, or I don't have something my wife's doing, or if I don't have this, then I'm in. Okay, so this is what leads into this question. And should dad, or do dads deserve to have a social life? So I'll ask the two of you this. You were not on that text because I don't like you very much.
I was going to say, I didn't get a fucking text, Jason.
I stopped inviting Jason places. He doesn't leave his house.
Because we're going to be sitting at your house.
That's right.
He knows better.
So now I invite you guys to that. It's 40 days out. And you put this on the family calendar.
Yeah.
And a week before that happens, a baseball game gets scheduled for your kid. You're not the coach. You're just a dad sitting in the stands. Do you cancel on going out with your friends to go to that baseball game because that got scheduled?
Can you make it soccer?
Sure.
Okay.
Soccer.
Yeah. So I mean, our calendar is. I mean, obviously, it has to be flexible when you have 2 kids and all that stuff. But for the most part, it is what it is. And there has been, I mean, there's been many times where a soccer game pops up or something pops up, and it's like, oh, but you're doing this or I'm doing this, and that's just what it is. So if I give the rule of, yeah, it's got to be a month out, and if I don't have anything on the calendar, I'll put it on the calendar. Yeah, then that's where I'm going, and that's where I'll be.
Okay.
But here's the thing: I wasn't always like that.
Okay.
My brother was really great at helping me learn how to prioritize. I guess like how important it was for me to give myself stuff, and not just me, but like my family too. So like. I was famous because my brother's awesome, and he'll call and say like, "Hey, we're gonna go do this thing. We're gonna go to this place," and not like we're gonna go to the mall. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna go to Belize in February on the 13th through the 17th," and I'm like, "Oh, y'all see what I got going on?" He's like, "Hey, fucking idiot!
Yeah,
put Belize on your calendar in like." He beat that into my head, and so it's something that I'm still probably learning, but I've gotten so much better at it than I used to be. And so if someone invites me somewhere, like that's where I'm going to be. As long as there's enough notice, and to be honest, it's something I want to fucking do.
Sure.
Because there's plenty of times where
different things,
right?
If you don't want to do it, don't do it.
I'm not going to do it.
That's totally fine.
I have like 5 really, really tight homies from high school, and one of them's my oldest friend from grade school, and I love them dearly. If they put something together, I will do everything that I can, and we're free to go. But if it's like, hey, what is it? It's Thursday night. If one of them says like, hey, on Saturday we're gonna go do this thing, I can't.
Yep.
My Saturday's spoken for. I know where I'm gonna be.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. But in this scenario, you plan something a month and a half out. Soccer game gets added to the calendar.
I'm at my thing.
You're at your thing. Do you feel guilty for being at your thing?
Probably not. I used to.
Okay.
And I think that comes from me just growing as an individual and probably carrying a lot of insecurities around with me, to where I was very good at creating like problems where they didn't exist. And so my insecurity would manifest itself in being defensive.
Okay.
To where like if someone like if my wife was like, hey, are you gonna go out on Friday with the guys? I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, I fucking said I was. Like, what's the problem? And she's like, well, just asking. Just curious. It's on the calendar. Just making sure. Like that's who I was for a very long time. I was a super insecure person, and I needed everybody to like me. I needed everybody to love me, and I don't just fucking care anymore. But it's taken a long time to get there. Like, and I kind of fell into an awesome group in our community, like with, the guys at school and like, and my buddies that I came up with, like.
You found me. You're welcome.
I found Jason. Yeah. Thanks, Jason. But it took a long time to get there.
Okay.
And I know this isn't this show, but it's one that we just kind of chatted about a little bit, is how do we have our kids not skin their knees on this insecurity for 30 plus years, to where they're finally like, hey, now I can do the shit I want to do because I'm secure in myself. So it's very difficult for me to schedule stuff because we are busy people. But once it's scheduled, it's scheduled. And I don't necessarily feel guilty. Now, I feel guilty, like, transactionally. Like, what I mean by that is, so, like, if I go on a golf trip, I play in a golf tournament. It's a 3-day tournament. We do it every August. It's awesome. There's 98 guys there. It's so much fun. And if something happens at home, I feel bad. Like if it's like one year she sent me like a text of like a bloody shirt and she's like, he busted his face, there's blood everywhere. I wish I could do something about it. I can't, but I'm not like, oh my God, I'm a shit dad, I'm a shit husband. How dare I go on this trip while she's doing no, she's like, that's good for you. Get the fuck out, go play golf with your buds. And
so I think in that, what you just said is where I'm at in this is I don't feel guilty if my kid has a game or a game that got scheduled that night. But I want to see him play. I enjoy watching my kids play.
Of course.
Yes.
So it's not guilt. It's not like, man, I'm a shit dad or whatever. It's like, man, I would really like to do both. But I have to make this decision, and I'm still going to have fun. And in the day and age that we live in right now, I'll probably pull his game up on a live stream, and while I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I'll be watching his game. But I don't feel guilty, if you will. I can't tell you how many friends that I have that if that scenario happens, they are perfectly fine bailing the week of or the day before.
Yeah.
So like, hey, what do you want me to do? My kid's got a game, or my kid's got to practice, or whatever. And I go,
practice.
What I want you to do, what I want you to do is come hang out with us,
Right.
And your kid's going to have 7 million more games and 7 million more practices.
But here's a big thing, and I think that this plays into it. Now, as far as like CYC or what other cities would call parochial, like you may not get your schedule for the whole season, but I pretty well know when our shit is.
Yeah.
Like I know, like Harry plays golf. I know when all the golf matches are. When Gus plays volleyball, I know when all the I know when the stuff is. So if you say like, hey, next May, I don't even know what the weekends are. May 31st. I don't even know if there's 31 days in May, but like whatever it is,
I think there is.
Is there something that day I can look and be like, yep, nope, I'm pretty cool. Nothing's gonna surprise me. And if something does surprise me, then I'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm good with it.
What about
but
you?
people have such piss poor relationships with their own schedules that, you know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to bail when you're like, I didn't know my kid had a game. Yes, you fucking did.
Right. Yeah. So it's either the guilt ate you up, or you really didn't want to go, and this is your excuse.
You certainly didn't prioritize it enough to be there,
and so that's fine. But don't bullshit me and tell me that you can't go. But there's a lot of these guys that are bullshitting themselves and like, oh, dude, I would love to. If I have to hear one more person tell me, God, I would love to do that, there's just no chance. Here's the deal: you're a grown ass fucking dad, and you control your life. You make money. You have your own calendar. You have a car. So if you would love to do something and it sounds amazing,
right?
The thing stopping you is you. The thing stopping you is something internal that you are afraid of something. You're afraid of the guilt. You're afraid of eating a bucket of shit when you go home, or you just don't want to go and you're just bullshitting me. And if you are just bullshitting me, then stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to go,
Just say you don't want to go.
I don't want to go.
Right.
It's no big deal.
Maybe we did get the text. We just didn't want to go.
Maybe
No,
that's
you
possible.
didn't. You're not in that group.
So those of you who are listening or watching right now, I think we're what, 5 episodes in now. So by now it's abundantly clear that I'm a very unique specimen of a human being.
Whoa.
So
You are.
I just want to preface it with that. So, I'm kind of in an interesting scenario here because I also would choose to do the event that was previously scheduled over the event for my kid. The reason why I'm able to do that, though, is because I have an expansive support system that even if one of my other kids has something going on and my wife is tending to that, I've got my dad, I've got my mom, my brother and his wife would chip in and help if need be. One of the things that I've learned from, especially being on the hockey side, is turns out there's a lot of parents out there that have no help at all. So there are those occasional times when they're like, I don't have a choice. My kid has a game. I got to cancel all else. Otherwise, my kid's not going to get to the game.
Right.
If I didn't have that support system, that would be the case for me because my kid's not going to ride to the game with anybody else. Like, I couldn't call another dad and say, hey, can you give Carter a ride? In most cases, like, he'd ride with you because of how close he is with Harry and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But, like, if a hockey game popped up, there's nobody on that hockey team that I could reach out to and get a ride for Carter and Carter be willing to go.
Right.
So the only way he's getting to that game is if I cancel my plans and we go do the hockey game.
Right.
Okay. With that said, though, I despise having things on my calendar. Like, I hate waking up in the morning and looking at my calendar and seeing things that I have to do. So you could ask me right now about plans the last weekend in May, and it could be that 98-person golf tournament, and I'm like, oh hell yeah. Let's go play golf all weekend. Let's play 72 holes.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Drink our tails off and just have an absolute blast. I will be excited about it.
Until Friday morning.
Until Friday morning when I wake up and I pull my calendar up and it's the day that I got to leave and I'm like, shit, I got to go do that golf tournament and I'd rather sit on my couch and do nothing. So it's not a matter of I never wanted to and I agreed to and I had an intention to bail. It gets to the point where I feel forced because I committed to it, but I've changed my mind, and at the moment, I don't want to. And unfortunately, that's a lot of the time. I have no good excuse for it. That's just kind of how I tend to roll, right? I get to the day of something, but that also significantly hampers my ability to have a social life because I decide that I want to do something at 4 p.m. that evening. I decide I want to play poker tonight, or I want to have some people over to the golf sim and play some golf. Well, guess what? At 4 o'clock on a Friday evening, if anybody is going to be doing anything, they've probably got plans already.
Yeah.
That's on me.
Well, let me ask you this. So in that scenario, let's pretend like I invite you to this 98-person golf tournament.
How many people do I know? I'm going to pretend that I know a lot of them.
You don't.
For the sake of this.
For the sake of this scenario.
For the sake of this discussion.
You know 20 of them.
All right. 20 of my best friends.
Right. Okay. And you wake up Friday and you don't want to go.
Yep.
And this might not be the best one because you're probably committed to a foursome and money. And
I've probably paid already.
Right.
Yep.
But let's just say, okay, let's say it's one of Jay's, we're going to go watch the Final Four or something on a Friday night. And you're like, yep, I'm in. We're going to go. Mm-hmm. And you wake up Friday morning and there's no monetary or partnership commitment or anything like that. Do you still go?
I don't understand what my positioning is. Did I wake up in the morning and decide that I didn't want to?
Yeah, I mean, you said like the majority of the time you wake up and you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you still go?
In most cases, I'll still go. Okay. Unless...
Which I think is probably healthy.
Yeah.
To push you out of wanting to go.
And 9 times out of 10, once I'm there, I'm having a great time and things are awesome.
Right.
Why do you go? Why do you go?
Because I committed to it. I'm going because the other people will make fun of me or give me shit if I don't go.
Correct. But that's not the reason to go have fun. But that's what's getting you there. If you knew that I wasn't going to bust your balls for not showing up, you would bail.
I am not going to disagree with you.
Okay. And this is actually a therapy session for you.
But this is
the
thing.
Third episode that you've mentioned me being in therapy or you therapizing me. So you know what, this podcast is just.
The invoice is in the mail.
Fair enough. Send it on over. I'll put it on my tab.
So it's the dads that are doing this, and whether they're scheduling things, they're scheduling a weekly golf league, or they're scheduling a hockey league, or they're scheduling a weekly dart game, or just a situation where they go, hey, on Thursdays I'm going to Blarney Stone.
Yeah.
And we're going to hang out, and there's 8 guys that say, hey, we're going to hang out after work on Thursdays at the Blarney Stone for 2 hours and have an appetizer and a beer or whatever that ends up being. And if you come, you come, and if you don't, you don't. And certain weeks it's 2 guys, certain weeks it's 8 guys, whatever.
Yeah.
Dads don't do that. And when I say dads don't do that, it's very few and far between that they are doing that and prioritizing. And what I'm saying is prioritizing their fun over whatever else may possibly come up on the family calendar. And it's for any number of different reasons. But that's where I'm saying the majority of dads don't have a social life. And is that okay? And is that fair, or is it Or do dads want that? And if you don't, if you're a dad that doesn't care to do things and is totally fine and very fulfilled by just doing all the stuff that gets put on the calendar for the kids and for your wife and for all of that stuff, cool. No big deal. This got brought up a couple of weeks ago because I have my pet peeve is that guy, is that friend that we've had for 10 years, 5 years, 25 years, whatever, that will sit in front of you and be like, dude, it's been too long. All I do is sit at home, just do the kid stuff. I'm burnt out. I need a night out. I got to be able to do this. Hey, Hilsing, you know, I'm not really a planner. I really, really want to do something. Can you put a night together because this is kind of your jam? Absolutely, dude. Let's do it. What are our parameters? What are we going to do? We put that together, and then I send the text out, and they're like, sorry, bro, I'm out. And so what ends up happening there is that then opens them up or gives me carte blanche for merciless ridicule. And I can be like, hey, listen, you're a huge bitch. Because if you want to do that, I'll help you. If you don't want to do that, that's still okay with me. But I, with certainty, don't want to listen to you bitch to me about your life and it's so boring and you do all this and you won't help yourself. And this is a deep situation, but my biggest pet peeve in life are grown-ass adults that refuse to help themselves. They want people to do things for them. They want all the options.
You're born in the wrong fucking time, my friend.
They want all of the options. They want to make the choice. They want everything that they can have, but on their terms and when it's convenient for them. And it's just not how the fucking world works.
Well, yeah.
But that's how it ends up. But the dad's social life is, to me, invaluable.
Well, so let me ask you this question. Do your kids know that you have a social life? Like, what is your relationship with that explanation? How do your kids interpret your social life?
I tell them the truth. Hey, Dad's going to go out with his friends and have a good time. I'm going to go play hockey. I'm going to go play softball, whatever. They a lot of times will come with me to go to my different sports and whatever's happening. Right. They're not coming to the bar with me. At times I'll take them to a Blues game or a Cardinals game or whatever that ends up being. But in reality, if I say, hey, Joe, Dan, Dad gets to go to the Blues game with Uncle Jason and Mr. Adam and so, and most of the time the response is, I want to go. That sounds awesome.
Right.
Which is what I want them, that's what I want their response to be. I want them to want to be around, and I want them to go and enjoy the same things that I enjoy. But also I want them to see that because of creating those healthy, long-standing relationships and friendships, it will benefit them throughout life and where that is, and having a network of people that they have invested in and care enough about to invite them to go places or go spend an evening with and do what they're doing.
Right.
That's what I want to have happen. Growing up, and this is part of what we're talking about, my dad did not have friends. Period. And when I say that, we hung out with my uncles and we hung out with some of his cousins that are part of the family that he played softball with. Other than that, my dad did not go anywhere with any other adults. And it was so odd to me I remember I was in my late teens and I was looking through their wedding album, and they've got the big group picture of the bridesmaids and the groomsmen, and I'm looking at this and I see my uncle, and then I see my other uncle in there, and then there's 6 other dudes that I've never seen before in my life.
Right. Who are they?
I'm like, hey, who are they? Like, oh, well, this is so-and-so, and this is so-and-so, and this is so. I'm like, Dad, how come I've never seen these people? Like, I don't have any idea who the hell they are. He goes, well, life, Jay. It just, jobs and so and so moved away, and you have kids.
You fall out, and
I looked at him as a teenager. I was like, Dad, these guys are supposed to be the most important people in your life when you got married. Like, they stood up there with you, and those are your dudes, and you haven't talked to them in 20 years. And he's like, yeah, it just kind of happens. I would be so sad if the guys that were in my wedding that were the most important people in my life, it was 5, 10, 15 years later, and I hadn't talked to them in 10 years. Because what am I doing? Like, what how important were they? Clearly not very fucking important. If they've never met your kid, I get so fired up about it and so my dad's an enigma in a lot of ways, but that's not, as I've talked to other friends of mine, I've told that story. They're like, yeah, it's so weird. Like, my dad hasn't talked to anybody that was in his wedding since 1978 or since 84.
Right.
And I like, and from what I'm gathering, this was kind of a boomer thing that they got into the rut. We had kids, we went to work, we did the kid stuff, we had dinner, came home, and we did it all over again. And that's just what it was.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I'm the outlier or if I'm an asshole, because I think that it's vitally important.
You're definitely
in
an
my life.
asshole.
This is true. I'll rephrase. But the guys that were in my wedding that are hanging on, well, not anymore, but who were hanging on the wall at my house, those guys knew my kids.
Right.
They called them uncle because they were important to me, which meant they're important to them, and they cared about my kids, and they would come to games, and they would do different stuff. So I think that that extended relationship, and very specifically with my boys and the male interaction of having a fraternity of guys, not specifically that you rushed into, but guys you created, you developed relationships, and you decided they were important to your life, is vital.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just a whole lot of friendships I feel like there's a lot of cyclical nature to friendships now. Like,
what do you mean?
So I absolutely had people that were extremely important to me in my wedding. I would still call myself friends with all of them. Mm-hmm. All of our lives have gone different directions since then. I as well, I'll look at a wedding photo of my parents and I have no idea who any of these people are other than the family, like aunts and uncles. I know who they are, but anybody that was in their weddings as a friend or an acquaintance or what, I have no idea who they are. Never seen them in my life. What I mean by cyclical is I had a core group of people from high school that I was really close with. But even during high school, it was largely my grade school contingent that still continued to be my friends into high school. I got into college and I developed almost a completely new circle of friends. There was people that were at the school, but then obviously you and I were still friends, Jay, and we had overlap in our friend groups. And then I got out of college and made some of those college folks carried through, and I still had some of those folks from my grade school, and then some of the high school people started coming back around again. But then once the kids came around, a lot of that friend group was still there, but then once school for the kids started, then all of a sudden the friend group shifted to the folks that were associated with the kids' school.
Yeah.
And then once the kids started playing sports, all of a sudden a new friend group bubbled up over here where we're now friends with the hockey parents or the soccer parents or the baseball parents. And now as my kids shift out of grade school and into high school, I have a feeling there's going to be another shift of sorts. And then once my kids are out of school, shit, I have no idea what to expect at that point in time.
It's just you.
Yeah, because all of a sudden now, but those cycles have happened for everybody at that point.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, I'm not the person like you, Jay, who's every time you're in the car, you're picking up the phone, you're calling somebody. You know, like you're staying in touch with folks. I'm not doing that. I hate being on the phone. I don't want that phone call. I don't want to make that phone call. It's not because I like you less or I don't, whatever.
I'm aware.
I'm not that person. But therefore, you are staying in touch with so many more people and keeping those bonds closer because you are in fact staying in touch. I've got nothing forcing me or keeping that connection together.
Yeah.
And that's shame on me because I'm not doing anything to contribute to it either. But I still feel like I have very strong friendships. I'm just not as close as I was when we were getting married.
Yeah.
But in that world, so our friend group is intertwined.
Yep.
And so, I don't expect you to call me ever because I know who you are and what you are about.
I'm very open about it.
But what I do think, do you enjoy hanging out with those people still?
Sure.
Okay. So
As long as it's not on the calendar and I am forced to.
so again, we'll dive into that later. But what I'm looking at here is I totally understand the busy nature of where we're at, and the show in talking about the trials and tribulations of being a grown ass dad. There's something to do all of the time.
Sure.
I mean, you could find something to do with your kids, or it's nuts. Having those relationships and those people that are there for you to help when either things are good or things are bad is very comforting to me. It's also fulfilling for me that I'm there. If something bad happens, I know there's 10 different guys that would call me in a heartbeat and be like, Jay, I need you. All right, I'm in. I'll be there.
Yeah.
So not hanging out every month or every week, but creating a night out or a few hour time period once or twice a year to go out and do something and keep that relationship at least on a little bit of the forefront and catch up and how are the kids and what's going on. How big's Joe now? Oh my God, he's 5'7" already. Jesus. It is something that I think is healthy and cathartic, and it's something that you have a bond in that world. And I feel I'm really, really fortunate because I have nurtured and created really, really good friendships of people that I consider more like family than just surface level friends. And I have many of them, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of them, and I'm proud that they're my friends.
I'm proud to be part of that group.
I appreciate it. But I think that there are a lot of people that are in your camp that are exhausted or are beat down, are just complacent, that aren't going to pick up the phone and nurture that friendship.
Yep.
Which is not bad. It's not a knock. I'm not taking a swing at you here, but who also would really enjoy that quarterly or biannually 3 or 4 hour beer in a game or whatever that ends up being. And there's not a whole lot of people that still do that. And when someone doesn't either invite them or takes the lead on that, it just doesn't happen. And then as that goes by, month, year, and year, it's then, hey, we're out. I don't not like that person. Yeah. I don't not want to hang out with that person. We just haven't hung out in years, and it's just okay. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
And I often find that when I do go spend time with the guys, I feel better. I feel I got to burn off some steam. Maybe I bitched about something. Maybe we just had a great time. We made a memory. Something stupid happened. Whatever, and it re-energizes me in the world of I don't feel like I'm in a rut. And the rut, what I see in dads in this social life, becomes the norm. And then it's, you know what? It's not that I don't deserve it. It's not they don't want it. It's just the rut. It's just where they're at. And so it bums me out, But it also is, I'm willing to bet that there are guys that are listening, watching, they're like, yeah, I'd really like to hang out with Steve. Haven't seen Steve in 3 years. He was my best friend. We had just epic memories. But Steve lives 20 minutes away, and he's got 4 kids, and I've got 3 kids, and it's just in the way, and it's just what it is.
Yeah.
If he plans it, I'll go.
Yeah,
Steve sounds great.
Steve. But that's just it's what you want out of life, and it's if you don't want a social life, cool. If you are a dad that wants a social life, cool, make it happen.
Yeah.
And I think that dads deserve a social life, and moms deserve a social life, 100%. So
Well, let me end with this question, because I think that this is I feel like the last question of each episode so far has been somewhat of a guidance type question. So, what advice would you give to a new dad or a young man who about keeping those friendships alive, or I don't know if I'm asking it right.
I think I understand.
You want them to be all in at home. You want them to be, a good father, a good husband, whatever. But you also, what advice would you give to someone either about the importance of that or directly about how to foster and maintain those relationships?
So I would say that you need to have an open dialogue with your spouse, your significant other, and talk about what you expect or what you want, what's happening. And because things are very different. You get married, things are slightly different. You have that first kid, things are drastically different. You have that second kid, things are, again, different. And time gets sucked up. Everybody's trying to figure out what their role and how they're doing what they're doing. And having that communication with your significant other and be like, hey, listen, I got these 3 dudes that are my dudes, and they're my favorite people to hang out with, and I want to continue that, even though I'm life is going to take the place of a lot of different things. So briefly, I played softball 5 nights a week, and played hockey 1 night a week, and I played basketball 1 night a week, and I didn't do anything on Saturdays. So as that math goes, there were 1 night where I had 2 sports that I played on that night. And I did that from when I was 22, 23 until I was like 30. That can't continue as you have kids and all that stuff. So you start whittling it down, and now it's 4 nights, now it's 3 nights, now it's 2 nights. And so I talked with my ex-wife, and I was like, 2 nights is my minimum. I'm going to play 2 nights a week. That's what's going to happen because it keeps me sane. I love it. This is what this is. We've identified I'm a weirdo and I'm a little bit unique. Let's say that you don't do any of that sort of stuff. If you do value those friendships and you do want to keep that in play, you have to be just a little bit of a planner, and you have to say, hey, I'm going to try and do something once a month or once a week or once a quarter with my dudes. And in that communication, and you talk to your significant other and like, hey, this is going to be my night out with these guys, and this is what we're going to do. And within reason, like I don't expect your wife to be cool with it if you're like, hey, we're going out the last Saturday of every month, and we're going to go to the strip club. We're gonna run a bunch of lines of coke. We're looking at hookers maybe, and then I'll be home sometime Monday morning. Yeah, okay, that's probably not a great choice. But when hey, we're gonna go out for a few beers and we're gonna go watch a game. I'm gonna be out 5-6 hours, whatever. I'll be home.
This took a dark turn.
But everything's within reason, right? Everybody and so if you can keep in touch with that situation and have some social time for yourself, that is, whether that's a weekly golf league or whatever that ends up being, you can maintain those relationships, and you communicate correctly with your significant other. And if your relationship is strong, which hopefully it's great, that significant other goes, "Hey, Jay, that sounds awesome. That's great. We know that's
Your thing.
That's
Go do
your
it.
thing, and
Right.
let's go do it." To your point when we started, if you don't communicate effectively, and you're like, "Hey, I'm going out," and then she's like, "Okay, when are you coming back?" "I don't know. Later." And then you go out, and you don't text her, you don't let her know
Right.
what's happening. That's going to create anxiety and animosity and different shit that's going to bubble up and make that not nearly as productive and not nearly as fun.
Right.
So, that's what I would suggest. Communicate correctly, and whether you calendarize it and you whatever, schedule some time. Schedule some social events, and it will make you a better dad and a better husband, because you're not resentful. You're not just sitting there in your rut and grinding it out. I promise you're going to be happier.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. When was the last time that you went and hung out with your dudes and had a really good time and came home and were like,
That sucked.
that was the worst.
It doesn't happen. Yeah.
And you're probably not mad the next day. You're probably in a great mood. You're going to probably do something really fun with your kids
Yeah.
because you had a great time.
Right. Right.
So that's what I think.
What about you, Jason? What advice would you give a new dad or a young man who is trying to balance social life, family life, all of those things?
I'm struggling with this one. I guess largely because one of the things we've established here for me is I don't feel that there's a need or a requirement to have a social life. I think it's healthy and it's a good thing to have, but I am, and maybe it's because I'm in the rut. Maybe that's what it is, and I'm not even calling myself in a rut, but maybe I'm in a rut. I don't know, but I was thinking about it while you guys were talking, and I was going down the path of maybe it's something that has to be more routine, so therefore you just get used to it, and you know that it's coming up, but then I defaulted to the Monday golf league. I'm in the same Monday golf league as you.
Right.
I loved it for the first year, and now I'm getting to Sunday evening and going,
I don't really want to play golf tomorrow.
I don't think I'm going to want to play tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I don't.
And you won 2 weeks ago.
I did. I haven't even been back yet. Like I didn't go this week because I didn't
That
really
golf
feel like
league must be awful.
it was a very low attendance week. I'm not going to lie.
Awful.
When the
I wasn't there that week.
when the roster's full, doesn't happen. When there's only like 7 or 8 groups that play, I have a chance.
Right.
Guy that came in second had one leg.
Yeah, I think my suggestion, if there is one, is to be open to it, and not to lose complete and total connection with your friend circle. Yes, you're going to get sucked into things with your kids. You're going to get sucked into things with your wife. And saying get sucked in is a really bad way for me to put it. You're gonna develop obligations to your wife and to your kids and things like that. Don't allow them to completely take your life away from what you want to be doing. But at the same time, if that's what you want to be doing, that's also okay.
Do it.
Right? Yeah. If spending every weekend at home or doing things with your family is what's making you feel whole on the inside, so be it.
Right.
I don't think I would recommend completely isolating yourselves. I mean, I do that a lot, and sometimes I feel bad about it, sometimes I don't. I do agree with you wholeheartedly that those times that I do get together with a friend group and we just go out and have a we don't even get crazy anymore. I mean, we're literally going to the Blarney and watching a game or whatever.
Speak for yourself. I got wheelchaired out of a hotel last week.
That's fair enough. I don't know. I'm struggling with it.
Okay. That's all right.
The social life concept is evading me a little bit.
Bones, what's your advice?
My advice is you don't have. First of all, it's more of a quality over quantity, because I think in the past I was more of a quantity person of like everybody. I want to go out with everybody and hang out with everybody and be friends with everybody, and that's for the birds. I think the things that I've learned is when adversity strikes, which inevitably in life it does. I learned this when my mom got sick. The people that reach out to you that you would not expect to reach. So like a perfect example. One of my best buds, a guy named Bob, he was at my wedding. When I went through some shit, he reached out to me and was like, hey, you want to go for a walk? Now, Bobby is also the guy who, and I've been friends with him for 20 plus years, who will like give you a nut shot, and then when you go down, like give you a dead leg and pour a Busch beer on your head.
And he's 40?
Well, not anymore.
Oh, okay.
But he's my age. But when that dude reached out to me and gave me love in a time when I desperately needed it because I wasn't going to give it to myself and I felt like the world was falling apart, forever and ever and ever, I was like, that was probably uncomfortable for that cat to do. Mm-hmm. Like, that was probably a difficult phone call for him to make, and he made it. That's my guy. Like, and I have a few of those. I have a few of those guys, but those are the people who, no matter what, like, I want to maintain connection with.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't need connection with the guy that I met 2 years ago or 5 years ago or 7 years ago who I hit it off with and I know all the things about and we watch all the stuff together and we text about the bullshit. Like, that's all vain bullshit. The real connections that you have on a life level, those are the relationships that I lean into big time. And that's my advice. Find those cats. Find the people who, when you do really great things, they make fun of you. And when you fuck up and you're in a bad spot, they pick you up.
Yeah.
Those are the dudes.
Okay. That's one thing I want to throw out then to kind of change my answer a little bit.
Okay.
What he said and what he said.
Well,
hold on, I changed my answer.
Mine is going to be Bobby. I don't care how much you don't want to go out or you don't want to do this or you don't want to do that. Be Bobby. Be that.
He's going to love this. I don't think he even knows I'm on a fucking podcast, but he's going to love this.
Bob needs to get out there, subscribe, and like, and do all that good stuff. So
be Bobby how? Why?
We live in an age right now where whether or not you're on the phone with friends all the time, or you're keeping up on social media, or you're hearing through the weeds or through the what do they say?
Grapevine.
The grapevine is what I'm looking for.
Through the weeds.
Through the weeds.
That's fine.
Just let me go. You know what's going on with people.
Yeah.
I don't talk on the phone unless I need to, or I feel like it's a necessity, or it's an in-person thing for me. You were dealing with some shit. I went to your house and I was there, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but you went radio silent on me on the phone a handful of weeks ago or whatever, and I just reached out to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Those things to me are 10 times more important than, hey, let's make sure we're having a beer every week or every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks.
No doubt.
Be social. I think it is important to be social, but more than anything, make sure you stay Bobby and you make sure you're still in touch. If you're in somebody's wedding, stay in touch with that person. Be Bobby, and don't let that fade just because everybody's going through different cycles in their life.
Yeah.
So I got one last thing, and I'll ask you this question: If you talk to someone twice a year, are they still eligible to be one of your best friends in life?
Yeah. So I got a perfect. I'm gonna name drop one more.
Okay.
So, one of my brother's best friends, this dude named Todd. They were super tight. My brother passed away. Todd and I got really close. I bet I talk to Todd. I bet I see him every 4 years.
Okay.
And I bet I talk to him on the phone every 2 years.
Okay.
And I bet I text him 3 to 10 times a year, depending on if the Cardinals are good or not good or whatever. That dude, I can pick up with him like that.
Sure.
Like we didn't even skip a beat. We didn't miss anything. Those are the kind of, like, be Bobby, be Todd, be those dudes. Be the people who you don't need to try with. Because it's funny because when I was in my bullshit and I was a mess, I didn't communicate with the people that knew me. I didn't communicate with Todd. I didn't communicate with Bobby because they knew I was full of shit. They knew I was on my bullshit, and they probably would have called me out on it, and certainly that's not what I needed. So I surrounded myself by people that I could create a version of myself that was opportunistic to the vision that I needed at the moment. But once I fell, those were the cats that were there to pick me up.
Yeah. There's the dude, and the reason I asked that question is there is one of my very, very best friends on the planet who would do anything for me. It is 10 o'clock at night right now on a Thursday. He gets up at 3:30 in the morning every day. I could call him right now and say, hey, man, I'm in trouble. And there would be no question. He would be like, I'm on my way. Text me an address.
Yep.
Whatever that is. I see him twice a year, and they're 2 planned events. And we determined we have tons of stuff going on. He's got 3 kids. He's got a really high-profile job. His wife works a ton. They have a lot going on. We schedule 2 events a year. One is a weekend float trip, and the other one is basically Skanksgiving. And we hang out on those 2 days a year, and that's it.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, we'll trade a few texts. We may talk maybe once a month. The moment that we are standing next to one another, it is if we saw each other yesterday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he is the dude, and he is a guy that was in my wedding. And it's not, we are not hanging out because we don't like each other or because we don't want to plan stuff. It's just, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And so it's really funny because we leave the float trip and we come back to St. Louis, and I'm like, all right, dude, I'll see you in November. And it's like, yeah, we should try and get together before that, but we're not. So
we know we won't.
We'll see you in November.
No chance.
But and what I bet is that when his kids are more grown up and they're in high school and out of high school and my kids are more grown up, I'd be willing to bet we have like a weekly standing appointment. At some point, we'll be 50 years old, 55 years old, and we'll have a Thursday happy hour at one of our favorite bars or whatever, and just go, hey,
I was
man.
going to say like coffee or breakfast or something.
No, it'd be ridiculous. And we'll and it would be, and I guarantee you that neither one of us misses a week because we enjoy hanging out and bullshitting about whatever. But at this point in time, this is what this needs to be. I'm not mad at him. He's not mad at me. Nothing happened. Our relationship is probably stronger and more meaningful now than it was when we were kids growing up.
Right.
It's just the circumstances around it.
It is what it is.
And each of us understand each other at a very, very high level. And when I did go through the divorce a couple of years ago, that dude was there. And I mean, there in a major way. And it's like, hey, whatever you need. I mean, he came and he actually slept at my house because he's like, hey, man, I don't know what to say, but you're an absolute train wreck. And so I'm just going to hang out.
Yeah.
That's the dude.
That's the dude. And you need those. You need those dudes.
Anyway, but this derailed slightly from social life. And should dads have a social life? But in that social life,
I'm surprised we kept it on the rails this long.
The social life is friends, and in having a social life with people you care about or that are important to you.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Because let's be real. Having a social life with people that you don't care about is a disaster.
Yeah.
Because you have so much as the dad.
Right.
You have so much shit going on. You're not planning something or going out with some ass clowns that you don't care about at all if you see ever again.
Right.
So that's why my social life and why I'm saying unequivocally dads having a social life is imperative to the level that they want if they're honest with themselves.
Yeah.
And so doing that and creating those bonds and those long-time bonds and people that are going to be there for you when shit hits the fan is imperative. And if you get in that rut and you go 2, 3, 4 years without seeing somebody, that's a pretty fucking special person if you reach out to them out of the blue 4 years later, like, hey man, I need you. You're like, who the fuck is this? Right.
Right.
Why are you you don't have any other friends other than me? Like, so it's imperative for me because of continuing to create that fraternity, that very tight fraternity of people that you can count on, and your own mental health of just having some fun.
Yeah.
And doing something for you when you as a dad spend most of your life doing for others.
Right. Well, I thought this was a great episode. I thought this was a good topic. I'm glad that you brought it up. If you got something from this episode, please leave us a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're not listening and you're listening on Apple Podcast or Spotify, please like our podcast, and just tell us what you think. Tell us what you think. If you have any other topics that you want to hear, or if you have something to say about this, drop us a line and let us know. Jay?
No, I agree completely. I think one of the things I want to point out too is do us a favor, do yourself a favor, do everybody a favor, and subscribe to the show, because that helps us grow and helps us know that we're doing something right. But at the same time, I've heard from a lot of people that are like, oh, I didn't even know your next episode was out. We're working on ways to better communicate that, but the easiest way to know that a new episode is available is to make sure you're subscribed, and you're going to get a notification from whatever your podcast platform is. So hop out there, subscribe, like, spread the word as much as you possibly can for us. We'd appreciate it. We got some merch coming here soon, so be on the lookout for that. Other than that, just looking forward to what lies ahead, because we're having some fun, that's for sure.
I love it.
Send us a bourbon recommendation.
Yeah. Appreciate you, boys.
grownassdads@gmail.com.
Love you, buddy.
Grown Ass Dads, out.